Hello everyone and welcome to the OP5 Grafana Integration. Before we get started, I just would like to verify that the microphone is working as it should. So please write in the chat, just so we know that the audio is working. A simple yes is sufficient. Fantastic, thank you. So today's webinar will be speaking about the OP5 Grafana Integration. And my name is Misiu Payor. I will be your presenter. I'm the team leader for the technical sales team here at OP5, and I am very passionate about esports, developing applications such as backend, front-end applications, and of course, who doesn't like to travel the world? I've been with OP5 for 5 years and counting. Today's key topic is the OP5 Grafana integration. Before we get to that, I will speak briefly about our solutions, but also our technical sales team. The OP5 Grafana integration, I'll cover what Grafana is and what it means for you and your organization. We'll round everything off with a short Q&A session. So please ask your questions during the webinar and we'll attend to those at the end of the Q&A session. But first, we have some very old friends at this webinar, but also some very recent friends of OP5. So I would like to take the opportunity to give a brief overview and introduction to OP5 and our monitoring solutions. OP5's monitoring solutions are the world's leading open source based monitoring products. A key difference is that we offer a unified solution, which means that it renders the possibility to take complete control of all aspects of your IT infrastructure and not only a certain piece of it. From an integration perspective, OP5 is fully innocuous plugin compatible, and we can deliver out-of-the-box integration with a number of third-party applications. One example is the key topic today. Our products, we offer two products, OP5 Monitor and OP5 Live. OP5 Monitor is a fully stacked monitoring solution for the requirements of large enterprises. We'll also provide you with OP5 Live, a web-based software as a service product. OP5 Monitor is fully flexible and scalable. It can monitor very large volumes of monitor devices, but also execute large volumes of service checks. It can run in the cloud, and it has a distributed infrastructure. OP5 Live is a easy-to-use web monitoring tool to check simple websites and applications. It can be seen as a lightweight version of OP5 Monitor. We talk a lot about from the basement to the cloud, and OP5 Monitor is built to handle that growth. Below, you see a scenario where we have 3 different setups of OP5 Monitor. Before I get into that, I would like to touch a bit on the peering we have, so the peering functionality within OP5 Monitor. OP5 Monitor peers can be used as a redundancy monitoring, but also enables instant synchronization of configuration and data. Since, of course, the monitoring system is critical for its IT operations, a redundant setup is recommended, simply to ensure less defense in case of large-scale network failure. If, for some reason, the failure also affects the monitoring system, the redundant system kicks in a mirrored version in order to ensure availability of the monitoring system. And the redundant system in this case would be the peer. So in this scenario, you can see on the screen, again, 3 different scenarios. On the left side, you see a single instance of OP5 Monitor, a single OP5 master node. That master node monitors a set of servers or applications. In the middle, you see master, peer, and polar. So the peer in this case acts as a load balance and redundant solution for the master. So in case the master goes down, the peer is there to assist. But also it's an active load balancing setup. This means that the peer actually takes some of the load from the master. So the master and the peer splits the load accordingly 50-50%. The polar in this case is typically used in isolated data centers. So you can monitor data centers where you have no inbound connection, but you have outbound connection. And the last scenario, the third image. In that case, we have a peer tied to the polar, as you see. So what we like to show here is that you can also redundant and load balance your polars if needed. Some OP5 facts. We have 6,000 customers across the globe. In the largest individual system, OP5 Monitor monitors 140 devices. We estimate roughly that OP5, our customers, uses OP5 Monitor to monitor roughly, I would say, 5 million IP addresses. We have a highly renewal rate. This means that 95% of our customers are returning customers, which by industry standards is a very high number, which we are very proud of. We have offices in Stockholm, Gothenburg, Tulsa, and Munich, but also recently opened up office in Tampere, Finland. To understand a bit how we work with you, our clients, mainly to improve and enrich our solutions, I would like to highlight our technical sales team. In total, they represent 10% of the OP5 staff, and they have a tight collaboration with our development and product management to ensure that our future direction is anchored in true and valid client requirements. The technical sales team is a field team, spending time with our clients to support them with expertise on how to create world-class monitoring of any kind of IT infrastructure, but of course while supporting and helping our clients. The technical sales teams also acquires new skills and knowledge about monitoring best practices from working with some of the most mission-critical IT environments on the field. That knowledge is being brought back to the OP5 team in tight cooperation and knowledge sharing with the OP5 development team. The information from the market is used to add new value to our solutions, mainly as a package product to take back to the market. In this case, the technical sales team created a customized script for a few clients that's now being built into the core monitor product by the development team. This brings us to the OP5 Grafana Integration. So first and foremost, you may ask yourself, what is Grafana? So Grafana is an open source metric analytics and visualization suite commonly used for presenting time series data for infrastructure and application analytics. There are some feature highlights I would like to cover. You can see the bullet list. Starting off from the very top one, dashboard and snapshot sharing. Grafana enables very dynamic dashboards, but also with a snapshot functionality. This means that you can snapshot a dashboard, set a expiration date on it, and share that across your team. It has rich graphing and templating capabilities. So that enables very sophisticated graphing functionalities within Grafana. And of course, all bundled in templates. It has support for multiple data sources. Data sources such as InfluxDB, OpenTSP, Amazon CloudWatch, Elasticsearch, the list goes on. And of course, full multi-tenancy. So you may ask yourself, why should I integrate with Grafana? So the purpose of the Grafana integration is to enhance our graphing, reporting, and dashboard customization capabilities. OP5 Monitor does it really good today, but this is to enhance that functionality. So the key features of the OP5 Grafana integration, again, a bulletin list, is to share data and dashboards across your team. It's fully extendable. So there's hundreds of dashboards and plugins available on the market. And this is an open community, and it's completely open sourced, backed by a vibrant community and actively developed. And it's unified. So again, we bring data together from multiple sources and mix it natively. So this means that you can feed data to Grafana from, say, OpenTSP, Elasticsearch, or InfluxDB, and then mix that data in graphs natively in the very same dashboard. And as you may know, widgets appear in OP5 Monitor, but are also available in Grafana. So there are widgets such as heat maps, histograms, graphs, and also geographical maps where you can plot out lat-long coordinates of your devices. This brings me to some screenshots of the Grafana integration. In this case, we visualize the entire OpenStack. So you can see on the very top, very similar to our big number of widgets in OP5 Monitor, but in this case, it's in Grafana. So it says OK, which means everything is up and running. And of course, if something goes in critical state, that would be red instead and say critical. In the middle, you have some graphs, and down below, just a quick overview of your cluster. In another example, we visualize our NetApp cluster. On the very top, you see the read-write latency. On the right top, you see CPU and disk utilization. And the middle, graphs for latency, throughput, IOPS. And down below, where you see node workload drill down, that's actually tabs that once expanded, you see additional graphs. So this gives you the ability to narrow down what you see at the first stage when you enter your dashboards. In some cases, you probably would like to see everything. In some cases, you only want to see specific tabs. One small detail I would like to highlight is the top text on the right corner. On the top right corner, you see last 50 minutes. That enables you to choose what data for what time span you would like to look at. So for example, last 24 hours or last 7 days or last week or today. And of course, once you configure that or once you change that, that automatically reflects instantly in real time in the dashboard. So screenshots are all fine, but I would like to show you a live demo. So please allow me to switch my screens real quick. So this is the Grafana integration. So this is the home dashboard once you enter. So on the right side, you see all the installed plugins I have or widgets, or they are referred to as panels in Grafana. So some community plugins I've added. On the left side, you see my start dashboards, but also the recently viewed dashboards I've looked at. I'll show two of these. I'll start off with the VMware cluster overview. So this dashboard gives me an overview of my entire VMware cluster. On the top, you can see the uptime for each ESX. And of course, if the uptime has been too long, that will change color accordingly. In the middle, you see the cluster CPU usage, but also a breakdown for each ESX host where you see the CPU usage min, max, but also the current one. On the right side, unfortunately, this is a demo environment, so we don't have any virtual machines running in this cluster, but this would show you a number of virtual machines you have up and running. And down below, memory and network utilization. And again, this is for the entire cluster. What I find very cool with this Grafana integration is that, again, if you change the time span, that would instantly reflect what you look at. So say, for example, I would like to view data for today. And as you see, the graphs are changed. If I change to, say, this week, again, it changes. Another cool feature is that if I zoom in for a specific time range, say, like this, you will notice that all the graphs will update to reflect that time span. I find that very cool with Grafana. Moving on. There are multiple ways to visualize your data. This is a different way. So we feed information from various OP5 Monitor instances directly to Grafana. In this case, it gives an overview of multiple instances that for some reasons are isolated and not connected to each other. You can hover and get instant information. And of course, as you see, when I hover a specific widget, in this case, or panel, I have a pop-up saying, click go to details, which means that you can enable drill down functionality, which means that it brings you directly to OP5 Monitor for that single node. Moving back to the presentation. So our offering on the OP5 Grafana integration starts as of today, June the 8th. The OP5 Grafana integration is delivered at a fixed price, 35,000 SEK, Swedish kronors. and it includes multiple deliverables. I'll break them down here. First and foremost, we'll install Grafana and set up OP5 Monitor as a primary data source. This means that we enable OP5 Monitor to send its performance metrics to Grafana. We'll set up 2 pre-agreed dashboards, of course in collaboration with you. We'll set up the authentication module to enable LDAP authentication module, or authentication. In this case, for example, you probably have LDAP connected to your OP5 Monitor instance. You would probably like to do the same for the Grafana instance. We'll instruct and demonstrate also of how to set up dashboards. Of course, we'll document the entire procedure so you can redo it whenever you please. We'll set up self-monitoring and alerting. This is done in OP5 Monitor. And we'll add a management pack for self-monitoring of the Grafana integration to verify that everything is working as intended and by design. So the next step, if you're interested in the Grafana integration, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We'll be happy to demonstrate what Grafana is capable of, but also what value it can bring to your company. We have an upcoming webinar. Please don't miss it. It's the ESLog integration. We'll discuss a bit on our new offering we have, which is the ESLog integration, which is based on the ELK stack. So if you have log needs, meaning if you need to log a lot of data, this is probably of interest for you. It's on the 13th of June, and you can subscribe or register for it on op5.com. That brings us to the Q&A session. Please give us some time to review all the questions that has come in, and we'll be answering those very shortly. Meanwhile, I'll put the microphone on mute so we can read the questions, and we'll be answering those shortly. Thank you. Sorry for the delay. We're still reviewing the questions. A lot of questions coming in. So one of the first questions that came in, will the Grafana plugins have any kind of support? No, the question is no. We will not support any plugins that are available in the community. Talk by yourself at any time. If there are any specific plugins you look to have support for, please get in touch with us. Second question, will OP5 have dashboards and sources for Grafana in order to make this work? The answer to that is yes. If understood correctly, dashboards will be in place and set up as I mentioned earlier, we'll set up 2 pre-agreed dashboards in collaboration with you. The sources will also be set up in Grafana, so it's ready to feed information directly from, in this case, InfluxDB, where we store all the data. Another question. Will integration documentation be available on op5.com to do it yourself, or is it only available for purchase? The OP5 Grafana integration is only available for purchase today. A question incoming from another question incoming here. So is this available for USA also in US currency? Since it was displayed in Swedish currency only, it might be good to clarify. $4,000. Correct, and thank you. So the pricing in US dollars is 4,000. Another question that's incoming here. If using an already set up OP5 system, will it give the possibility to only forward the information to an already set up Grafana server? Yes, that can be reviewed case by case. Please get in touch with us and we'll discuss that more in detail. Another question. According to your roadmap, will Grafana be packaged with OP5 in the next versions? Today, we released the OP5 Grafana integration, which means that in our next release that's upcoming here, it will be a packaged integration directly in OP5 Monitor. However, it's for purchase. Metrics displayed in Grafana. Is there a special data source to access the OP5 metrics from Grafana? Yes, there's a specific data source. Again, we use InfluxDB as the database backend in this case. There will be a data source named OP5 in Grafana, which you can use to filter out information, or in this case, performance metrics that you can visualize in your dashboard. Another question. Will it be included in the virtual appliance? The OP5 Grafana integration will work for instances running virtually. However, please note that OP5, the Grafana instance, has to be set up on a separate either physical or virtual machine. Another question. What is included in the offering of 35,000 SEK, Swedish kroners, support and integration? That list was shown during the presentation in a bulletin list. Shortly, we'll cover the setup, installation of OP5 and Grafana. We'll make sure the integration works. We'll set up collaboration with you. We'll document the procedure, but also set up self-monitoring and alerting on the full integration. Another question. Will Grafana be an independent dashboard, or will it be integrated directly in the OP5 dashboards? Grafana is an independent dashboard, meaning that you will have to set up your dashboard separately in Grafana to visualize information from your OP5 Monitor instances. What kind of information does the dashboard contain? Was it everything that was showed in the presentation? The metrics we store in this case with the Grafana integration is all the performance data that OP5 Monitor collects. So to give a better insight from a technical perspective, we have built a module that exports all information in real time that OP5 Monitor collects. and that information is performance data. That performance data is stored in InfluxDB. InfluxDB is a data source to Grafana in this case. So Grafana uses InfluxDB to visualize that information for you. You have the full flexibility to build your own queries in order to filter out what information you would like to see. For example, give me everything related to all services named CPU for all hosts in the very same graph. Grafana has some additional functionalities, for example, to show the baseline of a specific value over time. Another good question. So this question says, we've basically seen Grafana's side of the integration. How does the integration look from the OP5 side? Good question. In this case, we could not demonstrate this during this webinar, but please get in touch with us and we'll demonstrate that more in detail so you can see how that looks from an OP5 perspective. Okay, everyone, we're running out of time. Thank you for all the great questions and thank you for attending.